Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyhi wa mustafa wa ba'd. Brothers and sisters, welcome to another live edition of your program Ask Huda. Our phone numbers beginning with the area code 002-0238-555-131 or 132, and the Facebook page is Dr. Muhammad Salah Official. Without any further ado, I have a few pending questions, and you can go ahead and start ringing in, inshallah, as soon as you have a chance. Abdul Rahman from Cameroon has 3 questions. The first is, can I make dua after tashahhud in the nafila prayer? For some of the viewers who do not know the term nafila, and nafila refers to the supererogatory or the voluntary prayers, other than the 5 mandatory daily prayers. So the emphatic or the non-emphatic sunan or the night prayer or the duha, these are all nawafil. And its singular is nafila. So his question is, can I make dua after tashahhud in nafila prayer? It is highly recommended to supplicate after the tashahhud and before making taslim. The Prophet ﷺ said to recite after tashahhud, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min fitnati al-mahya wal-mamat wa fitnati al-masih al-dajjal. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min adhabin fil nar wa adhabin fil qabr. If one recites the tashahhud and is done with it, it is recommended to seek refuge with Allah against these 4 calamities: the trial of life and death, the trial of the grave, the torment of the grave, and the trial of the false Messiah, Al-Masih al-Dajjal. Also, it has been narrated in some ahadith that the Prophet ﷺ used to seek forgiveness for his sins with the following supplication: Allahumma ighfir li ma qaddamtu wa ma akhartu wa ma asrartu wa ma a'lantu wa ma anta a'lamu bihi minni anta al-muqaddimu wa anta al-muakhir la ilaha illa ant. O Allah, I seek forgiveness for all my sins, the ones which I've done in the past or in the future, the one which I've done in private or in public, the one which I'm familiar with, and the one which you know better. So all kind of sins. The Prophet ﷺ prescribed for us to recite these supplications after reciting at-tashahhud and before making taslim. This is a very, very valuable time to make dua. With regards to the hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, when the Prophet ﷺ said to him, O Mu'adh, I love you, so you should not leave after the prayer, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. Many of the scholars said, this supplication, O Allah, help me out to remember you much, to be grateful to you, to worship you properly, should be recited after tashahhud and before making taslim. And that was also the choice of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him. Now, does this apply only to the fard or the mandatory prayers? No. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, may Allah have mercy on him, says these supplications are prescribed for either mandatory prayers or voluntary prayers, every prayer. And it is recommended, it is not mandatory though. This is a very valuable time, so one should take advantage of this time and make dua and supplicate to Allah as the Prophet ﷺ used to do and he taught us. His second question is relating to the first, which is, what about du'a'u al-istiftah in the nafila likewise? Now we learn the meaning of an-nafila, which is the voluntary prayers. Du'a'u al-istiftah, the word al-istiftah means the beginning of the prayer, to open up the prayer, to begin the supplication or the recitation. It has been narrated that the Prophet ﷺ used to begin his prayer by the following supplications: before the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha and before Al-Isti'adha, then Al-Basmala. So he used to say, Allahumma ba'id bayni wa bayna dhunubi kama ba'adta bayna al-mashriq wal maghrib. The rest of the dua is very well known. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك. That's another opening supplication. And these supplications and others are prescribed for both the imam and the ma'moom, the follower, and prescribed in both the mandatory prayers and in every single prayer. Each 2 units or 4 units or 3 units you begin the supplication of al-istiftah before the recitation of the Quran. And it is a sunnah. So if the imam started right away and said Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and he started the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha as a ma'moom, as a follower, then you are not allowed to begin al-istiftah supplication. And if you started it, you should be quiet. Why? Because Allah the Almighty ordered us in the Quran, إِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Once the Quran is recited, you should listen to it attentively and pay attention to it in order to be eligible for Allah's mercy. The interpreters of the Quran said this ayah was revealed concerning the recitation of the Quran in the prayer by the imam. So if the imam started the recitation, you be quiet. And that applies also to the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha. We know that it is mandatory upon the imam as well as the ma'moom, the follower, to recite the opening of the book, Surah Al-Fatiha, in each and every rak'ah. But sometimes the imam does not give you a chance to recite. So if he starts right away, you should be quiet in order to comply with the command of Allah once the Quran is recited. And we say that is concerning the recitation of the Quran in the prayer. فَاسْتَمِعُوا, listen to it. وَأَنصِتُوا, and listen attentively. So you're not allowed to keep busy with any other thing, even if the imam is reciting the surah after Al-Fatiha, which is simply sunnah. But if he started its recitation, you should be quiet. His third question is, can I make dua? Let's take some calls and I will get back to the third question, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Mahira from the case A. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, sister?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. How are you?
Wonderful. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah. Go ahead.
Alhamdulillah. Actually, Sheikh, we are married since 14 years, almost 14 years, mashallah. And still we don't have any kids. And for 10 years, we have been trying everything, like allopathic, all medicines. We did not conceive. So we went for IVF after 10 years. But after doing IVF for almost 12 cycles, I've conceived 3 times, and twice there were twins, but none of them survived more than 12 weeks. I had miscarriages at 12 weeks every time. And so my doctor now says that we should do some pre-implantation genetic diagnosis so that we can diagnose if there is anomaly in the embryo, and we will only transfer the embryos which are genetically normal, and they will discard the embryos which are genetically abnormal. So my question is this permissible?
طيب, barakallahu fiki. Allah the Almighty says in the Quran, يَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا وَيَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ الذُّكُورَ أَوْ يُزَوِّجُهُمْ ذُكْرَانًا وَإِنَاثًا وَيَجْعَلُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ عَقِيمًا. The matter of having an offspring is a provision, like one's salary, like one's earning, like everything in life is simply a form of provision. And in this ayah, Allah the Almighty says what it means that He grants to whomever He wills girls, daughters. And He grants to whomever He wills boys. And in the following ayah says, أَوْ يُزَوِّجُهُمْ ذُكْرَانًا وَإِنَاثًا. And He may give both boys and girls, males and females. And He may make the person sterile. وَيَجْعَلُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ عَقِيمًا إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ قَدِيرٌ. He is all-knowing and able to do all things. When Sarah said, أَأَلِدُ وَأَنَا عَجُوزٌ وَهَذَا بَعْلِي شَيْخًا, Allah the Almighty provided Ibrahim alayhi salam, and similarly Zachariah, peace be upon him, with the child after reaching senility, and the wife was already sterile. So this is definitely up to Allah the Almighty. One has to meet that with complete acceptance and with complete pleasure. This is Allah's decision. We all know that we desire to have children, and we would love to have an offspring. But if Allah the Almighty wills otherwise, one should be patient. If there are medical means to enhance this process, it is permissible to pursue it, as long as they are legal. The in vitro fertilization process, once it becomes the last resort, and after several attempts, it is permissible, provided, not only that it is the last resort, that the clinic and the doctor, the physician, is an honest person. You must have heard about many clinics where the physician or the doctor basically was fertilizing the eggs of the different females, hundreds of them, with his own sperms. So this is a form of adultery, even without having a sexual intercourse. And that's not permissible. That is the only fear we have. In case that the child is inoculated in vitro and the process is going on, and it is in a safe environment, we trust this physician, when we trust this clinic, as I said, if it is the last resort, it is permissible. Then we come to another issue, which is abortion. Abortion in general is definitely forbidden in Islam once the woman conceives, even from day one. But there are some reasons which may allow abortion. Necessity. Whenever conception or pregnancy poses life threat to the conceiving woman, to the mother. In this case, it is permissible to abort the baby. And some of the scholars said, if it is in the first trimester, and the physicians are certain that the embryo is deformed and is not going to survive, in this case it is permissible. But this is one opinion. This is not it's not an agreement or general consensus. We ask Allah the Almighty to grant you and your husband a goodly offspring. Ameen. And I personally would like to give you a few advices, such as constantly seeking forgiveness. And I know that some people would say, well, I do not do any sins, I keep praying all day and reciting Quran. And we also mentioned repeatedly, based on the Quranic references, that al-istighfar, or seeking forgiveness, isn't simply because we commit sins. It is one of the greatest means of celebrating the praise of Allah, or dhikr. Look what Nuh alayhi salam said to his people, and Allah recounted what he said in a chapter named after him. He said, فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلِ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا وَيُمْدِدْكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. These are all means of provision: wealth, children, rivers, gardens, due to the virtues of constantly making istighfar. فَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. Try this, brothers and sisters. in order to solve any of your problems, in order to live in peace with yourself and with others, in order to remove any of your calamities. Keep yourself busy with making istighfar. Say astaghfirullah or astaghfirullah al-azim or astaghfirullah al-azim wa atubu ilayh. Also, continue as much as you can sending the peace and the blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and increase giving in a charity. These are all means of having Allah the Almighty providing you with a goodly offspring. And not to forget the power of dua. Abdul Rahman from Cameroon, his third question was, can I make dua with verses from the Quran in sujood? It depends on your intention. And it appears to me that here you're asking about interpreting some of the verses and utilizing them as means of invocation. And this is perfectly valid. Why is he asking this question? Because it is not permissible to recite Quran neither in ruku' position nor in sujood. أما الركوع فعظموا فيه الرب وأما السجود فأكثروا فيه من الدعاء فقامن أن يستجاب لأحدكم. In the hadith, our Prophet, peace be upon him, said, in ruku' you glorify the Lord, and in sujood increase making dua, your prayers and supplications, because your dua is most likely to be accepted while you are in the position of sujood. There are many forms of supplications in the Quran. If you recite them as Quran, like after you finish Surah Al-Fatiha, you may recite لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. How many supplications in this ayah? A lot. And they're all beautiful. The last ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah. Beautiful supplications. Well, when you take out of that, beginning from رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. Why are you reciting this? I'm invoking Allah on my behalf. I'm not reciting Quran. That's valid. Then you say رَبَّنَا وَلَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِصْرًا كَمَا حَمَلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا. Valid. رَبَّنَا وَلَا تُحَمِّلْنَا مَا لَا طَاقَةَ لَنَا بِهِ. That's a supplication. Valid. One of the beautiful supplications I love most is of Surah Al-Furqan. عباد الرحمن, they invoke the Lord saying والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما. Allah admire His servants who invoke Him via these supplications. Okay, so I got the portion which is beginning from the dua, and I start saying رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. I didn't say وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ. So I use this ayah as means of invocation for myself. I'm the one who is invoking Allah, saying رَبَّنَا, our Lord, هَبْ لَنَا, grant us من أزواجنا وذرياتنا, from our spouses and our offspring. And both males and females can use the same, because azwaj and zawj applies to the husband as well as to the wife. We ask Allah, grant us from our spouses and our offspring comfort for our eyes. وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا, and make us the leaders of the pious ones. That's a supplication. I didn't say وَالَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ. So that is valid. Sister Sally from Egypt asked another question, which is, she was informed by a friend that the funeral prayer was done wrong, as the fourth takbirah was silent. I know that we should make dua for Muslim Ummah and ourselves in it. Please tell us about the correct way of performing janazah. Sure, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Khan from the KSA. Brother Khan.
How are you, Sheikh?
Fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
Great.
Sheikh, in continuation with what you were talking to, speaking to a lady just, I think, a few minutes back regarding in vitro fertilization, I have a question in relation to that. Nowadays, if even after multiple attempts of in vitro fertilization, they try to diagnose the reason for the failure of the in vitro fertilization by doing a chromosomal study of the embryos. And there is the decision that they discard the embryos who are having definite chromosomal abnormalities, and they only they only inject those embryos which are normal, which have normal chromosomal pattern. So is it permissible to discard those embryos who have documented evident chromosomal abnormalities? That was the question, actually.
At what time you recognize that they have abnormalities?
This is in the initial cell division, like a 4-cell stage or 8-cell stage where the cells are still multiplying. They just take the egg from the female and the sperm from the male, and they do the fertilization in vitro, and after that they do the chromosomal study of this fertilized.
Yeah. Tell you the truth.
This is done before transferring inside the uterus. I mean, it's done outside in the.
Okay,
in the
it's not in the uterus
before even transferring it.
Okay. I guess it will be better for me to study this condition, then inshallah come back to you guys with an answer based on number one, scientific study and consulting embryologists and different scholars in order to come up with an answer in this regard. Jazakallahu khairan, and thank you for clarifying this matter, Brother Khan. Appreciate it so much. Sister Sally's question about the funeral prayer. The most obvious and the most correct way to offer the funeral prayer, if you're praying in Jama'ah, the Imam will make the takbir out loud, and there is no opening supplications, because the entire prayer of Janazah is based on making it brief and short in order to rush to the graveyard to bury the dead person. So immediately you recite al-isti'adha, then al-basmala, then Surah al-Fatiha. Then the second takbir, all of that while standing and facing the Qibla, while the dead person is in front of you, between you and the Qibla, and your intent is to say in your heart that you're attending the funeral prayer على من حضر من أموات المسلمين. If you don't know the name of the person, you're attending the funeral prayer of whoever is attending of the Muslims. The Imam makes the takbir out loud, and the followers should not make any sound. Rather, they make the takbir, but they should not produce any sound. The Ma'moom would recite Surah Al-Fatiha likewise. After the second takbir, the Imam as well as the Ma'moom would recite quietly At-Tashahhud, the last part of the Durood Sharif or At-Tashahhud, which is known as sending the peace and the blessings upon the Prophet ﷺ, as we say in the Tashahhud, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad, all the way to Innaka Hamidun Majid. Then the Imam will make a third takbir out loud, and the followers will make it quietly. Then he will spend this time, which is the longest period of time between all the takbirat, making dua for the person or the persons whom we're offering their funeral prayer. There is a prescribed supplication, but if the person is either a non-Arab or he doesn't know by heart the prescribed supplications, simply pray for him or her by any means that Allah the Almighty will inspire you to invoke Him for this dead person. O Allah, forgive him his sins. O Allah, have mercy on her. O Allah, make their grave a garden of paradise. O Allah, widen their graves. O Allah, make it easy for them at the time of the su'al. O Allah, keep them firm when they are being tested. All of that. Keep distance between them and their sins as far as the distance between the east and the west. These are supplications that if you say in Arabic, اللهم باعد بينه وبين ذنوبه كما باعدت بين المشرق والمغرب اللهم نقه من خطاياه كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس, etc. So if you know the prescribed supplication, fine. If you don't, then make your effort in supplicating for the dead person. If 40 people attend the funeral of any Muslim and those 40 people do not associate with Allah any partners in worship, Allah will accept their intercession for this dead person and he will be saved. That's why it is very crucial and very important for us, once we know that there is a dead person, that we should rush to attend his or her funeral prayer. They are in need for this prayer most. When we see people in the haram making taslim, then when the imam or the muaddin announces the funeral prayer, they step away. They want to beat the traffic and leave the haram early before everyone. This is such a great loss. Because those who attend the prayer will accumulate and earn a reward similar to the mountain of Uhud for these 2 minutes, couple minutes that he is attending the funeral prayer while he's standing. After he finishes supplicating for the dead person, makes a 4th takbir. All the takbirat out loud the imam will make in order to announce to the followers that he's making the next move. And it has been narrated, ثُمَّ سَكَتَ سَكْتَةً. Then the Prophet ﷺ was quiet, then he made taslim. So if you don't say anything after, that is permissible. And if you were to say, such as, اللهم لا تحرمنا أجره ولا تفتنا بعده, that too is permissible. What has been narrated that the Prophet ﷺ made taslim to the right only. So I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, without making a left taslim. You should follow the imam in this regard. If you are living in a society or in a locality where the imam made takbir both to the right and to the left, you should follow the imam in that too. We'll take a short break and we'll be back inshallah in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Commercials motivate viewers into immediate action and to sway consumer loyalty from one brand or service to the other. That's why we're here for you, to help you sell your products and services by using creative ideas that bring life into your own TV commercial. Advertise your business and branded products and services on Huda TV. We will offer you fast-paced and energetic 30-second affordable TV spots. Advertise on Huda TV. Acquire fresh customers and stay within your budget. For more info or to receive a quote, please send your inquiries to advert@Huda TV. Huda TV.
This is the Dean Show. 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 This is the Dean Show.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Deen Show. From time to time, we answer some of your questions. We have so many important issues that we're dealing with here on the Deen Show, and we encourage you to come back here every week. And if you don't catch us on the TV station, you can go to thedeenshow.com where all of our shows are there.
It is important for us when we look at the issue of holiday myths, that we look at the whole picture. And from the beginning of time, people worshipped the Creator in different ways. The Quran tells us in the chapter of the Bee, Surah An-Nahl, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ.
Maryam, how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Thank you for being with us on the Deen Show.
You're welcome.
So how old are you again?
I'm 8 years old.
I didn't want to get that wrong. 8 years old. And you've memorized how many juz of the Quran?
I memorized 21 juz from the Quran.
21 juz. MashaAllah.
As you know that there is no concept of clergyman in Islam.
There isn't?
There is not.
Okay.
And this idea is supposed to be very liberating. Nobody comes between you and your Creator.
Okay.
You do not need an operator. It's a direct call. So Islam rejects the whole notion of clergyman. So a sheikh, imam is a title that is given to a person like myself. when the community feels that you're worthy of it. And it's just a type of out of respect.
This is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show. This is the Deen Show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Our phone numbers again, area code 002-0238-555-131 or 132. Alamin from Nigeria says, as a medical student, we went in practical sessions in hospitals in groups, and we examined the female patients in gynecology. Is that permissible? For the sake of education and in limited conditions, and when the woman who is exposed to this examination is fully covered except for the body part, which the physician, the professor, and the students are examining, and for the sake of education, so that will be able to teach the students and be able to treat future patients, because those physicians, if they do not, or those students who are being prepared to be MDs or gynecologists, if they do not practice, they will not be able to check on the patients, determine what kind of disease or sickness or what is their condition. So for the sake of education, and when the woman is fully covered, except for the body part which they are examining, it is permissible. His second question is, I got motivated by a knowledgeable Muslimah. Is it permissible to take her as a girlfriend? I'm not sure if I read the question right or if this is what you really mean. Any relationship between a man and a woman who is not lawful for him, nor is she related to him, a mahram, is not permissible except and unless if they pursue each other in marriage. Yani, not before the marriage contract, that you're allowed to touch the hand of your classmate or your teacher or your sheikha or the person who inspired you, whether you were the student or you were the teacher. And that's why, brothers and sisters, here we're very careful, and we warn people. Again, it's something that Satan puts some deception in it. When a female presenter appears on the screen, then the cameraman and the director make certain that he has a close-up on her eyes, on her face, on her jewelry. When she is wearing a full makeup, she's wearing hijab, but with a full makeup. Assuming that because she is talking about the deen, she is immune, and no one will be in a case or condition of fitna. No, this is not right. This is not true. Allah the Almighty says to the mothers of the believers in the Quran, فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٍ وَقُلْنَ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Sometimes when a woman speaks softly, some of the audience may have some sickness in his heart, may perceive it wrongly. He thinks that she is being nice to him, that she is sending like a signal to him, so that we can date, we can go out, we can be friends. That's not permissible. So you have to speak properly. You have to dress up properly. And even if you are a teacher who's teaching the Quran, you're not allowed to be alone with your female student in one place or behind closed doors. That is not permissible. So the concept of taking her as a girlfriend is absolutely not permissible in Islam. If you're interested in her and she's interested in you, propose to her, get married, then you can enjoy each other. But a girlfriend or a friendship outside a legitimate relationship in Islam is not permissible. Assalamu alaikum. Don from United Arab Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ask Huda.
Sheikh, I'm a reverted Muslim.
Congratulations.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to clarify. Now, the Quran has been completely revealed in the Laylatul Qadr to the seventh heaven. So it was stored there, and then time to time it was ayah by ayah based on the circumstances. Ayah by ayah seems to have been revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then, say for specific events such as in the case of Abbas Allah and cases like Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha's matters and many other matters, ayahs were revealed. So is it that since the Quran was completely stored in seventh heaven and it was revealed time to time, is it that these events were predetermined? Because Quran has been completely downloaded to the seventh heaven. Later on, ayah by ayah, based on the events, it was revealed. For example, in the case of Abbas it was happened later on, but the Quran has revealed before that. So, is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran and the specific verses before it happened, knowing that exactly this is happening at this time? Is it clear, my question?
Very clear. Thank you, Don. I got your question. In Surah Al-Qadr, as well as in Surah Ad-Dukhan, Allah the Almighty confirmed that the Quran was revealed on a blessed night, and this night has a very great value. That is the meaning of Al-Qadr. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, in one ayah. Inna anzalnahu fi laylatin mubarakah, in the beginning of Surah Ad-Dukhan. We have sent it down on a blessed night. Okay? The meaning of that, the entire book of the Quran have been revealed from heaven to our worldly heaven, from Allah the Almighty to our worldly heaven, stored in what is known as Baytul Izzah, and then afterward, the beginning of the revelation also to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was on that blessed night, beginning with the command of read, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Then the revelation continued over the period of 23 years. In Surah Al-Furqan, Allah the Almighty says, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ الْقُرْآنُ جُمْلَةً وَاحِدَةً كَذَلِكَ لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ وَرَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. That confirms the Quran was not revealed to the Prophet ﷺ as in one shot or one book. Similar to Musa alayhi salam, who was given the entire book. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْلَا نُزِّلَ عَلَيْهِ الْقُرْآنُ جُمْلَةً وَاحِدَةً. They said, how come the Quran was not revealed to him in one dose, in one shot, all at once? Allah the Almighty said, the purpose of revealing the Quran in segments, not necessarily an ayah at a time, it could be a whole chapter, it could be some verses, Then by the end, Jibreel alayhi salam instructed the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam to keep this verse in this chapter, before this verse, before this chapter, in the last year before his death. Last Ramadan he witnessed, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he revised the Quran with him twice. Then he mentioned the effective reason why the Quran was not revealed as one book. He said, thus in order to keep firm thereof your heart. وَرَتَّلْنَاهُ تَرْتِيلًا. So as you mentioned, many of these ayat have reasons for their revelation in order to clarify something, to refute a misconception, to command the believers to do or not to do, because the Ummah did not develop or evolve all at once. Rather, each era have its own characteristics. The Meccan era is different than the Medinian era. The weakness and persecution in the Meccan era is different than victory and prosperity in Medina. Then after the conquest of Mecca is also another era, and so on. Does it mean that Allah the Almighty knew about all these events before them taking place? Of course. Of course. In the Quran as well, Allah the Almighty says that there is not a single thing, but it is ordained in a book من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك على الله يسير. Anything that happens, anything, whether it's good or bad, that happens for us or on our planet or in other planets, it was already ordained in a book by Allah the Almighty before it was created, before it was brought into life. إِنَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرٌ. Indeed, that is easy for Allah the Almighty. This is one of the qualities of Allah, of knowing the unseen, of knowing the future. Not only that, the Quran keeps telling us about things which will happen in the future, even after the death of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And some of these events evolved afterward. And within the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quran was revealed to inform him about prophecies, things which people could never expect. In Surah Al-Rum, Allah the Almighty says, Alif Lam Mim Ghulibat Al-Rum. So it established the fact that the Roman Empire had been defeated. By whom? By the Persians. Then Allah the Almighty delivered the prophecy. وَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ غَلَبِهِمْ سَيَغْلِبُونَ. And afterward, after they have been defeated, they will defeat their enemies, who were the Persians. فِي بِضْعِ سِنِينَ. In a matter of a few years, from 3 to 7 years. And indeed, that has been achieved after this ayah was revealed. And the Romans defeated the Persians. So the matter of knowing the future, knowing the unseen for Allah the Almighty is a very simple matter. As he said in Surah Al-Hadid, إِنَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرٌ. Barakallahu feekum. Done from United Arab Emirates. Sister Aisha from Nigeria says, is it obligatory to wear socks during the prayer? There is a difference of opinion in this regard. We have the view of the vast majority of the fuqaha are of the view that yes, it's a must. Relying on a hadith which is collected by Abu Dawood, Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, she's one of the mothers of the believers, asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam if it is permissible for a woman to pray only in dir'a and a khimar, like a cloak and a khimar, without izar. Al-izar is the lower garment. The Prophet ﷺ answered her saying, yes, if her garment, if her cloak was long enough to cover her feet. إذا كان الدرع سابغا, to cover the feet. So the Jumhur, the vast majority of the fuqaha, most of the Shafi'i schools, most of the Maliki schools, and the Imam Ahmad school of thought of fiqh, are of the view that then it's a must for a woman to cover her feet in the prayer. And the only body part which should appear in the prayer, the face and the hands. Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him, is of the view that it is not important and it is not required for a woman to cover her feet in the prayer, because it is not a awrah. The awrah of a woman is what normally, what is not a awrah for a woman is what normally appears from her at home. The hands, the feet. She doesn't have to keep wearing socks at home. So he exempt the feet, the hands, and the face. And by the way, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him, is of the same view, that covering the feet for a woman in the prayer is not necessary. So we understand from that there is a difference of opinion. Even our contemporary scholars have differed in this mas'ala. While we have Shaykh Abdul Aziz ibn Baz, may Allah have mercy on him, is of the view which lines up with the vast majority of the scholars that she must wear socks or cover the feet during the prayer. On the other hand, we find Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on all of them, is lining up with Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Abu Hanifa and his school of thought, which says that it is not mandatory for a woman to cover her feet in the prayer. Wada Lawal says in her question, an asthma patient fasting suffers a mild attack during the day and gets relief by using the inhaler. Is this fast nullified by using the inhaler, or is it valid? It is permissible for an asthmatic patient to use the inhaler while fasting, and his fasting is valid according to the more right view, which means that there is another view, but according to the more right view, that the inhaler would not invalidate one's fasting. Especially this is not a form of food or drink, nor is it any form of nutrition. Sajda Shahid, Sister Sajida says, please advise if reading and looking at the Holy Quran proved by the Sunnah. She means that if you recite from an open Quran in the prayer, is it permissible? The khilaf, the difference of opinion between the scholars is concerning carrying the Quran and keeping yourself busy with flipping the pages. We have, on one hand, Imam Abu Hanifa forbids that because he says that resembles the people of the book and it slows down people from memorizing the Quran. The other scholars have a reference. You asked about the Sunnah. We have al-Mu'mineen Aisha radiyallahu anha. She used to ask her servant Zakwan, who has not memorized the entire Quran, to recite in the tahajjud, opening the Mus'haf, and she would pray behind him. So it is permissible accordingly because of this reference. If the person is also carrying not just the Quran, his or her phone or smart device, and that will motivate them to recite a longer recitation in the prayer. I'm talking about the nafila prayer. Then it is permissible. May Allah the Almighty guide us to what is best. And أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.